2 million disabled. Can you comprehend the 2 million war-crippled men who were once healthy? Frontline soldiers who went through the Great Patriotic War. It was for them that small cars began to be made in the Soviet Union, which over time, of course, received the nickname disabled car. Basically a nightmare. With separate tank. Or not with a separate tank. Gorgeous car. Oh, I'm already in second gear. Everything falls apart here. Today we have the final chord about the car for the disabled. My good blogger friends gave me a present and dug up another miracle. I would say something early and virgin. It is written that you may not be welcome here. Hello, comrades.
Hello.
What will make me happy this time?
It's in front of you.
And that, a good car.
We have another miracle of technology for you. The S3D motorized stroller of the 82nd year of manufacture.
What is its correct name?
S3D.
I remember S3D.
A lot of people call it wrong, but we know how to do it right. The history of the car is very simple. In '82, I don't know, for some kind of merit or they were given without exception, a disabled person received this car. After that, having driven literally 3 to 4 miles on it, he put it in a shed. And the car stood in a warm wooden shed, right up to 2017, from where we, in fact, got it. Brought it to a more or less normal state.
What else can you say about this? Care for the disabled in the USSR began immediately after the end of the Great Patriotic War. Everyone remembers the Kivite, a chair with a motor and a stick to control. Then, in 1958, a decision was made at the design bureau of the Gorky plant to design an experimental car, GAZ-18. The GAZ-18 was a 2-seat hand-operated subcompact car. A complete car with an automatic transmission. Then they decided to transfer all the best to the SMZ, the Serpukhov mechanical plant, but everything was ruined there. Today, almost a new car fell into our hands. Of course, this particular car cannot be called early, because it was produced in 1982, and these so-called invalid cars were produced from 1970 to 1997. But this invalid car is still made as it should, and not at random, but do you know what mileage it has? 16 miles. Therefore, we have a museum rarity. The concept of creating the machine was simple: to simplify, reduce the cost of production. Hence the chopped, uncomplicated lines. Body panels were stamped and welded. Does the appearance bother you? Well, you must admit that such a small car looks more like an amphibian in its appearance, and not like a small car in the usual sense of the word. Why does a disabled car need the appearance of an amphibian? Well, everything is very simple. Initially, according to the idea, it should be a small all-passing car for the village named Shustrik. And again briefly, the designers of the SHKB, the Special Art Design Bureau under the Moscow Council of the National Economy, Eric Sabo and Eduard Molchanov, developed Shustrik back in the early 60s. It was planned that the engine from ZAZ-965 would be installed on the car with the classic layout. This small car was aimed not only at the disabled, but also at hunters, agronomists, village postmen, but something went wrong. And so, through years of torment and suffering, this appeared. Not a technological breakthrough, but also something. There is a roof, and thank God, but the technical component was even worse than mediocre. The motor remained in the stern. Have you seen this key? With this key in this car, almost everything opens here. And here is the engine. Lord. Honestly, I'm afraid of accidentally breaking something. IZH, Planet 3, a forced motor with a capacity of 14 horsepower. Of course, it was slightly modified. Due to the fact that there is an air-cooled motor here, the impeller is very clearly visible, which creates additional airflow. And a generator. Starter. In general, the engine mount here deserves a separate song, but the song will not be very good. But to truly appreciate, to feel this engine in action is possible only on the go. It is clear that the body is load-bearing, but at the same time there is also a frame, a motor with a gearbox is installed on it, and the frame itself is already bolted to the body of the car. And so, trunk. Friends, please, tell me what can be stuffed into this trunk, if everything that could be stuffed here already? Well, let's say a spare wheel. Somewhere here there would be a jack, and a gasoline stove. Basically a nightmare, with separate tank. Or not with a separate tank. It's scary. Stove like in Zaporizhzhia, or not?
Gas.
I'm just trying to understand. It's because it has no way out from this side.
What do you mean?
No, but here it has an air intake, right?
Yes, there's an intake. This is the stove of the SHAZ plant, which is also used on GAZ vehicles.
It is working?
Haven't tried. And not only we did not try, 90% of cars with such units committed suicide through the act of self-immolation.
Have you recorded it? Recorded? All right, so you haven't tried it. Shall we try? Scary, right? Me too. If it explodes. This is such an invention that you're looking at and think, well, it must somehow work. To be honest, in my life I have never seen how Zaporizhzhia stoves work.
No, why? It works well if everything is debugged.
It's still scary.
All components and assemblies.
Is it scary? It's scary.
Scary, no doubt.
Therefore, we will not turn on the stove today.
If it is properly serviced, then such stoves make heat. You could ride there in a t-shirt.
If they have been properly serviced, if the car hasn't been sitting in a garage for too many years.
But we are talking about that time, about the past.
And we're talking about the present days.
At the moment, no need.
It's just a unique exhibit, that's all. Like Venus de Milo. Nobody glues back Venus de Milo's hands to her. With the words, what if she will look cooler with her hands? What gaps, Yuri, what gaps? I love this build quality. And you always tell me about your foreign cars. And what? Quite comfortable. Well, have you seen this? Body. I don't know what is this. Well, what did you hear? SZD? Whoever calls SZD S3D, that loser. Factory, plate. White Knight. Oh, I had a White Knight VAZ 2105. But for some reason my White Knight was definitely more like this White Knight, which for some reason is gray here. So, what can I tell about here? And I can tell here, as a matter of fact. I can't talk about anything. Behind the passenger seat we have a sign, Serpukhov. How is that pronounced? No matter. Automobile Plant. Motor Plant, S3D model. Year of issue 1982, as I said. And numbers. Body number 166, 957 and engine number 2811. Made in the USSR. And also next to the plate is a gas tank cock. Reserve, closed, open, 3 positions. There is a starter here, as I said, but the stern economical Russian guys always took care of this valuable electrical device so that they would not repair it later. And that's why they started the car with the help of such a poker. Actually, the guy said not to do this, but I'll try. Where are the pedals? Brother, where are the pedals? I just now realized that there are no pedals here. Here we have gas. This is the clutch. This is the handle from the gearbox. And this is a brake. A very handy thing, a hand brake. I very much hope so. Okay, let's try. So, neutral. The legs here are clearly superfluous at all. Neck. I'm sorry.
Vanya, we warned you.
No, I don't believe you.
That won't work.
Stop. I hope you blur it, right? Alright, in short, I'm not the one. I'm not a strong guy.
You better press the button.
So, where is it?
From the left side.
On the left side, is this? Foreign car, brother, this is it. Do you understand how terrible this is? The engine screams right into your ear behind you, plus all this stuff, the exhaust fumes also fly into the cabin. By the way, there are 4 speeds, they are sequential, like on a motorcycle. The first is forward, the rest are all back. Oh, I'm already in second gear. This is where everything falls apart. And, of course, you can see the street from the car. Look at the holes there, as thick as a finger, as thick as a finger. But we remember what they told us, so we will take the word of our friends, who know the people who used Zaporizhzhia stoves, that it was still very warm in the car in winter. Oh my gosh! It seems to me that all disabled people are Buddhists. I have such an assumption. Here at least 4 hands are needed. Or at least 8 fingers on each. So, and where is the neutral gear? Here it is. Have you seen this right here? And how do you like the hood, which separately emits sounds? The suspension here is interesting. Tell you more? Front and rear torsion bar on double trailing arms in front and single behind. Small wheels are very fond of getting into pits. Or not fall through. There are more minuses than pluses. It was noisy once, crowded too, the gasoline pump was diaphragm, it froze in winter, and it was almost impossible for a disabled person to start this car. Judge for yourself. Maximum speed? The question is who we will believe, the so-called experts or the facts. Well, they seem to say that 40 miles per hour, but in fact 20 to 25, and then horror in the eyes and smiles on the faces of passers-by who have long been aware that you were driving, because the noise from you reached them faster than you. But there was a main plus, a disabled car S3D was given free of charge for 5 years. After 2.5 years, the car was overhauled, and then you changed it to a new one. Invalid car gave people the opportunity to move around, to be free. Well, the motor, in fact, is clearly not enough. The machine weighs over 1,100 pounds. Oka and Zaporizets, approximately 1360 to 1400. But this is different, these are 4-seater cars, almost full-fledged. And here are 2 places. And then, 2 places is a big word. After all, the disabled person was driving, well, at least with crutches. And I'm not saying anything about a person who rode a wheelchair. That is, it was almost impossible to put a wheelchair here, in this car, especially on your own. To drive a motorized carriage, it was necessary to obtain a Category A driver's license, motorcycles and scooters, with special note. And here, too, in training, people were always helped. During the years of production, 223,051 machines were stamped. After the removal of the S3D from production in 1997, the disabled were finally transferred to a normal car, the Oka. Well, comrades, for almost 1.5 miles that I have driven in this amazing car, and now the mileage is even more than 17 miles, I can say that I am used to this wonderful car. But I can say one thing. Thank God that today these cars are only a collector's item, and not a vital necessity. The hunt continues.